First of all, before I begin, I want to pay tribute to Ban Ki-moon. This is the last briefing I will give as he is standing down as Secretary General in the next few days. He has been a passionate supporter of global education. He has always given me his time and his attention when I've raised major issues with him. He is a champion of children, not just because he himself was educated as a result of an international action by UNESCO and others when he was a child in war-torn Korea. And I wish him well in everything that he has done. He has been second to none in his support for children. 2017 must see an end to the war on children. Never since 1945 have so many children been subjected to such widespread violations of their human rights in conflict zones. From the deliberate targeting of schools, the sexual enslavement of children, compulsory conscription into militias, the denial of the most basic right to education, and even today, there are more than 100 children holed up in Aleppo without hope. We must, in 2017, send a New Year's message that there is no hiding place for war crimes against children, and that every single child in the world should be able to go to school free of fear or violence. To this end, I'm submitting to the Secretary-General a plan to raise funds to guarantee every displaced and refugee child a safe school during 2017 and 2018. And I'm going to be pressing the German G20 in 2017 to develop a comprehensive funding plan to deliver education without borders for the 35 million children out of school in the Middle East and Africa. I believe it is also right to call a high-level inquiry to strengthen the current framework for the protection of children that holds perpetrators of violence against them to proper account. The inquiry should consist of a monitoring panel to review the current scale and forms of violations of children's rights in conflict, to ensure that from today the eyes of the world are firmly focused on every town and every village where violations of children's rights are taking place. A legal panel should examine new laws, policies and mechanisms aimed at ending the war on children, including the potential for an international criminal court for children with a wider mandate than the International Criminal Court as it exists to investigate atrocities against society's youngest and most vulnerable. As a matter of urgency, the European Court of Human Rights should investigate the Idlib school bombing, and the International Criminal Court should act on its renewed commitment to prosecute war crimes against children. In the last 20 years, we have seen genocide in Rwanda, ethnic cleansing in Srebrenica, and crimes against humanity in Darfur. But 2016 will go down in history as the year in which atrocities against children became everyday events and the perpetrators of violence against children went unpunished. And despite our promise of never again, we failed the children in conflict zones. From Mosul, where children cannot escape, to Aleppo, where no child is safe, even those in hospitals and schools, it is often more dangerous to be a child on the streets than a soldier on the front line. Country by country, evidence that we have amassed over the last few months shows systematic and continuous violation of international law that is preventing children going to school. In Syria, 100 schools have been attacked in just 2 years. In Libya, the International Criminal Court has had to launch an inquiry into trafficking and exploitation of children. In Yemen, over 1,000 schools have been partially or fully destroyed, including one yesterday. In Iraq, ISIS is using children as human shields in its battle for Mosul. In Nigeria, thousands of girls have been intimidated by Boko Haram to the point they will not put their lives on the line to attend school. And yet, our humanitarian assistance is limited to a begging bowl that is regularly passed round, with education in emergency appeals amounting to less than 2% of humanitarian aid. Recent estimates suggest that the average time refugees are exiled from the country is 17 years, and it means that some children will spend all their childhood years without ever entering a classroom. And we have to ask why, for those who are society's most vulnerable and most in need, we do the least, and why there are no plans yet in place or in prospect to make their lives better in 2017 or beyond. At the moment of greatest need, we should show the deepest ambition and find a funding formula that will allow guaranteed support for refugees, a chance for children to not simply have food and shelter, but to attend school, and this would unlock hope as well as develop potential. The funding call is made all the more urgent because I can tell you that the response to education in emergency appeals in Nigeria yielded less than 10% of the pledges asked for, in war-torn DRC less than 5%, in 1% in Burkina Faso, Chad and the Central African Republic. The Education Cannot Wait Fund that we have established has mobilized over $100 million for these children, but more must be done. As the recent report we presented to the Secretary-General showed, progress is possible. As the Commission found, the World Bank has the means, by raising their commitment from education to 15% from 10%, and managing the flow of maturing 30-year loans and leveraging up this incoming capital, the bank, in our view, could generate an additional $20 billion of resources to education in the years to 2030. This past Monday marked the 20th anniversary of the General Assembly mandate to protect children better when impacted by conflict. Recent events make clear this commitment is one that must be renewed and updated to respond more directly to present-day challenges. We must take steps today to ensure tomorrow, in 2017, there is some hope for children across the globe. A new deal must hasten a new deal for children.
Thank you very much, sir.